Hello, and welcome back or welcome to Chairlift Chats, a podcast where your favourite brother and sister duo bring you authentic conversations from friends, strangers, family around the world. We are, as I said, your favourite brother and sister duo. My name is Chelsea Widdicombe.
I'm James Widdicombe. It's great to be doing another podcast. Today, we're back again in the snow. We're in our igloo in Japan where we're recording from. And it's been a fantastic experience being here. But today we thought we would share
Our guide
and what we did previously, which was when we first took off from Sydney, we landed in Korea. We thought we'd talk about where we went skiing in Pyeongchang, where it was home to the 2018 Winter Olympic Games. And then obviously all the experiences outside of the snowfields like Seoul and Seoul Tower.
Seoul's got soul.
Yes, all the experiences from South Korea. The DMZ, obviously, that was an unbelievable experience as well. And just how cold it can get in that region of South Korea. It got down to
in the minus 16.
Yeah, minus 16, you know.
You can't even imagine it. It doesn't feel real, and it's like it's not real.
Especially if you're from Australia and you're coming from 40-degree temperatures, having that temperature change is quite a wake up.
But you know what? It has really felt like a true winter wonderland. I'm so grateful for the experience that we've had and the incredible snow that we've got to see, the people we've interacted with along the way. So we're going to do a full breakdown and guide on Korea, basically.
And we'll do basically a divide of the South Koreans and how things work in Japan. Two different nations.
Things. We're also going to divide this episode into two. We'll upload it in one as well, but if you do want just a guide on Seoul, we'll be providing that. And if you do just want a guide on Pyeongchang, if you just want to go skiing in Korea as well, we'll do that. Yeah. So stay tuned, and we will be back in the studio very shortly. And we are back in the studio in Sydney, just like that.
Just like that, we're back in the studio. So, Chelsea, talk to us through the 3 to 4 days we had in Seoul.
Yeah, Seoul.
What were your favourite parts, and what do you think people should know? Tips, tricks, dining, food, places to go, places not to go?
Yeah, well, as we said in the intro, this is going to be our travel guide. And so we're going to start with Seoul. Seoul's got Seoul. So we did 3 days in Seoul, and that was like a good amount of time to go see some things. We were staying in the area called Hongdae, which was a very convenient location. Lots going on there, very easy to get around. So we used the underground metro train system, which was quite easy to get around to everywhere, connects you to everything.
So it's kind of the middle. Hongdae is sort of the central Korea, like in the city area.
Yeah, you're really in the city.
About 40 minutes to the airport by car, train, about an hour. Not too bad. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
Talk to us about the train line.
Yeah, so anyway, we would get the metro pretty much to everywhere we needed to go. And you could even, where we were staying, which was the L7 Hongdae, you could actually get there from the airport via train because Hongdae actually connects to the airport line directly. We didn't do that because our flight got in late because we were delayed leaving Sydney. So we were a little bit late for the trains, but I do think it'd be a really easy way to get, and cheap way to get from the airport, Incheon Airport, to Seoul City.
The train system's pretty incredible. If you look at the map systems, it's pretty insane. It actually goes. There's one train line that literally just does one big loop around the city, and that's pretty cool. There's all the different stops that you can go to. And that just literally does one big loop, and then everything else is like all over the place. But you can download. What was the app that you used?
I used an app called Naver Maps.
Yeah, and that was pretty helpful.
Yeah, that definitely helped. But my biggest tip for getting around a foreign country in general is just to follow the signs. We're very lucky in Korea. Everything is in English. Like, obviously, the main text is in Korean, but they do have in smaller text everything in English, and even on the trains they announce what station you're at in English. So you do feel quite catered for in that way. But yeah, so you can just follow the signs and follow the colours to kind of figure out where to go. One thing we did do is at Incheon Airport. Exiting, we did get our what are they called?
T
Money
money card.
cards.
Yeah, T money
Yeah,
card.
and that is good because you can just then load cash onto that to get
Mm-hmm.
around Seoul. And
Yeah, the T money card was good, but I'll give a couple of tips just to everyone as well as you're getting off the plane. So just have all your documents ready to go. As you're coming into any foreign country, you always have to fill in like where you're staying, are you declaring anything, just the basics. So make sure your passport, everything is accessible, ready to go. Then you get through, check-in through the airport was actually pretty smooth in Seoul.
and
And
what about the way they did the luggage?
and the luggage was cool too.
How
Yeah.
this? You know what?
This is what they do in Asian countries. They always tend to be a little bit more
So you've
gentle
gone
with your
through
bags.
immigration, blah blah
Yeah.
blah, passport checks, everything.
You come to the bag carousel, which is pretty cool in Asian countries because you get the staff that just they collect your bag for you and they line it up in a big line for you. So when
So
you
yeah,
arrive, you can just collect your bag, find your bag tag and everything, and it's just there, nice and ready to go.
which is very
Nice and
different
stacked up.
compared to at Sydney Airport. It's just like everyone's crowded around the carousel trying to get their bags.
Yeah.
But yeah, because we're going to do an episode on our Japan trip as well, the Japan portion of our trip. But this is obviously the Korea portion. But they did it in Japan as well, and it's very
It's a breath
polite.
of fresh air.
It's very nice. Like it's very civilized, especially after 10-hour flight and everything. It really was refreshing.
And then you walk out, obviously, and it was nothing better leaving Australia where it was boiling hot and arriving, and you walk outside and it was just that cold, fresh air.
It was so
It
cold
was very
the night
cold.
we arrived.
And I loved it. That was just so nice on my skin. I'm like,
I think we do well in winter. Like both of our
was
skin,
good.
while we're over there, our skin was both so clear.
I was wearing a t-shirt and shorts too. I just walked straight out. People were looking at me going, this guy's...
I mean, that is crazy.
But it just felt, it was perfect. Oh, it was so comfortable. I love that.
I had more layers on than a t-shirt. The first night we turned up, I had like my Juicy Couture tracksuit on, and I had like no other layers. And we got out of the cab in front of the hotel, and we're getting our bags, and I was freezing. My teeth were literally chattering. I think it was about -8 at the time.
Yeah, I'd say it was about that. It was very cold. Wind was pretty
If there's
aggressive
wind,
as well.
the wind just goes straight through you. So I think definitely layer up.
It was cool. I liked
Layers
it.
are your friends.
It's always exciting that first night that you get there. It's just the start of a real adventure. and
Yeah,
it was
you know
cool.
what? It's like in the morning you were in Sydney, and then now like it's the start of the holiday. It's a
Yeah.
really uplifting feeling.
So yeah, so that was cool to get there and get the bags and just experience what a different airport's like and a different system. I will give advice though. Seoul Airport, there's not a lot of food to eat, so try and eat as much as you can before
Oh,
you
you're
get
talking
there.
about when you're leaving.
Well, even
on
when you get there
departure.
as well, there's nothing there. There's no food.
There, Incheon Airport has like a Starbucks and then this other little tiny food court. That's all we could find, but we were in Terminal 2, so who knows what, like...
I don't know what other
Terminal 1 or-
terminals had, but it was, just fill up before you get there because there was not a lot of food.
I had a great Starbucks.
But
Well, no, I'll keep going with the apps that I think you need as well, because we
Right.
talked about having Naver Maps, because you need to be able to get around, and it tells you what train lines to get and everything like that. But I also recommend downloading Google Translate or a Translate app that has Korean on it, because the people of Korea, the Koreans, they don't speak a lot of English, even though all the signage is in English. So it's really helpful to have translation at the ready, particularly like ordering at cafes and restaurants and things like that, or if you just never know when you need it. So I'd always definitely download a translating app. That's a
Yeah.
must.
100%.
So yeah, the first day, so yeah, as again we woke up in Hongdae, and
Nice lookout.
yeah, it's amazing. Like,
Actually, I'll touch on the hotel. The hotel was really cool. So over in Seoul and in South Korea, the lobby is actually upstairs on
nothing's on ground level.
Nothing was on the ground. Ground level's like sort of the garage level, where everyone comes and gets dropped off.
Oh, and
bags
also
and
they
things.
don't call it ground level; they call it level 1. They
Yeah, I
do it like the
know.
Americans.
It's interesting.
Whereas in Australia and like a lot of places in the world, you have
It's
ground
ground
floor
level.
and then you have level 1, 2,
Mm.
3. Whereas they have ground level as level 1 and then they have basement 1,
So that was
basement
kind
2.
of weird to work into
The
with
amount
that.
of times I went to the wrong floor,
Yeah.
it was silly.
So yeah, no ground level 1, and then level 35 for whatever reason usually, but was the lobby.
Yeah, we had like a level
And
12,
the
we had a
main
level
sort of
35, so you're very high up
cafe.
and you can always see the view out to the
Yeah.
city. It's incredible.
But that was
Who
cool.
needs to go to a lookout when you can just look out the window?
And Hongdae L7 had that really cool pool table, nice breakfast buffet,
It was quite a groovy area, like groovy common area.
bar area. It was a hectic hotel. I loved it.
Rooms were nice
Very
too.
comfortable rooms, very spacious. One of the only places in Asia that was quite spacious.
You actually could put your suitcase completely
Open.
on the ground.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
you know what? We were away
Times 2.
for 3 weeks, or for you, yeah.
Yeah.
We were away for 3 weeks, so it's quite hard living out of a suitcase. So to be able to kind of open your suitcase fully is
And be able to
an
repack it when
advantage.
you need to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
repacking.
So, no, that was
And
great.
if you're like me and you do shopping, you need to be prepared.
All right, so talk about your first day then.
First day was probably one of my favourite days of the whole trip. We went to one of the palaces, and it's the one with the secret garden attached to it. And it was such a beautiful, crisp, wintry day, and went and got the traditional hanbok to wear around the palace, which actually, travel tip, if you wear the hanbok into the palace, you actually get free entry. So
Yes, that was cool.
so you pay to do the rental, and it is a really fun experience. The shop we went like early in the morning, and we had the whole shop to ourselves, and we got our hair done. We got to choose out of all the dresses and skirts and tops and everything, and so it was a really fun way to then see such a historical part of Korea, like their palace, and to go through wearing the big hoop skirts and everything. It was
Good for all the girls. I went down the road and had a nice hot chocolate as I waited for them,
yeah.
but I was on photographs that day, so
I
it was still
took
cool.
a lot of photos.
Still,
of you too.
still cool to go around and just view that palace because there's nice, like rivers just running through the middle of the city, and it's so peaceful as well,
And
which
it's
is
so
weird.
quiet because you really are in the middle of the hustle and bustle of the
Yeah.
city, and then you walk in. It's like you pass through the gates and you're
And then
in
it's dead
another
quiet.
world. It's so
Completely
silent and like
quiet.
it's so green in there, and there's so much gardens,
Mm.
and it was really beautiful because the water in the sort of lakes and things were all frozen over.
Yeah.
So that was it was really pretty. And there was like, you're getting the historical context of what the different palaces were about, and just seeing other people as well wearing the hanboks.
It was a
as
cold
well.
day too, but I thought, yeah, the outfits looked great, and most people were wearing them.
Yeah, it was really
And
fun walking around and waving at other people who were also wearing the hanboks.
having the blonde hair made you stand out.
Yeah, definitely stand out in Korea.
So, no, that was a cool day.
It was really fun, and it was just a good experience. It was a really good way to start the trip as well because it really got you into the zone.
And you can buy the outfits too, can't you?
I don't know. I didn't see anywhere where you could buy the outfits.
pretty sure you could buy them.
I don't know where you could get them, but
So,
hiring it's fun, and yeah, you get to kind of show your creativity by picking your color scheme and everything like that. I really, really recommend it, even though apparently it's like the number one touristy thing to do, but it's definitely worth doing. It's a really fun experience.
no, it was good. Which leads us into day 2, where
Yeah.
I left you off to do your shopping,
Yeah, I had a
which
shopping
is
day.
what you had, and I went off to the DMZ. That was a cool day. Loved that. Great
Yeah.
experience.
Tell us what is the DMZ?
The demilitarized zone between North and South Korea. So, a little bit of context there. If you know anything about the Korean War, and anything about the history of North and South Korea, basically they hate each other, and there's a big demilitarized zone with the South and the North basically just facing off against each other, and it's one big cat and mouse game. It's quite sad. They have to, the North send over balloons full of bombs basically, and they shoot it down, and then the Koreans send over, you know, like human rights on the like big speakerphones going into North Korea. So it is quite sad what's going on. They just want peace, I think, at the end of the day. But it's an awesome experience. You get to go down some massive tunnels into the where like right in deep into the DMZ zone, and that's about a 300. I think it's roughly 300 meters down, and you have to wear hard hats and everything, and it's freezing cold. If you go in winter, it's absolutely freezing cold. I don't know what it was. It was just, I think it was about -10 when we got there, and in those tunnels, it's just nothing but like water dripping down the walls, and then just absolutely freezing in those tunnels. And they dug them all by hand and explosives. So quite incredible when you think about it like that. And it's just a great day out, and a definite tip for the travel guides is get to the DMZ zone and do the bus tour, because it was an awesome day.
That's good.
I loved it.
Bit of history there. But I think that's really shows how resilient the Koreans have been as a people. And what I really am inspired by is how self-sufficient they are as a nation.
Yeah.
You know, using the resources that they have everything Korean branded, everything, I had a shopping day and all the shop ladies were so excited to tell me everything was made in Korea. You know, they were showing me jewelry, makeup, the clothes, everything was made in Korea. And even like if you asked for a Sprite, there's no such thing as Sprite over there. It's all like the Lottie branded Sprite.
It tastes the same, but
it's all their
Korean
own
branding,
brand.
yeah.
And I just think that's amazing that, a pretty small country can be that self-sufficient. It's really cool.
One of my favorite things about what they had over there was you'd go into like a convenience store, and this goes for both Korea and Japan, but I think the ice cream tasted better. It tastes better over there. But you go into just like the freezer section, and it's hard to explain, but it's basically just a soft serve Macca's ice cream that's proper ice cream, frozen in like a plastic container that you can walk away with, and you could leave it for half an hour and it would still be melted. Sorry, not melted, it'd still be frozen. And the flavour was unbelievable from those ice creams. They were so good. So another tip, get the ice cream in Korea.
Serious
Amazing.
question for you, James.
So
How
good.
many ice creams do you think you had?
I had sometimes 2 each night, but nah, I got at least 1 every night because they were just that good. And all the vending machines as well. There's vending machines everywhere, and you can get ice cream. It's just amazing.
Is cool. Actually, the coolest vending machine I saw was one that had like toiletries in it. It was at the hotel we stayed at when we went to the snow in Korea, which we'll get to. But that was definitely the coolest vending machine. Like it had like toothbrushes in it, skincare in it. It was
soon you'll be able to buy a house out of a vending machine. It's just they live small over there, and it's just crazy how you can, get everything out of a vending machine. So that was cool. So. Got a little bit of that at the DMZ as well, ice cream and plenty of other goodies. And one of my other highlights was what we did on was it the 3rd day? I think we went to Seoul Tower.
Yeah.
Seoul Tower, that was brilliant. And people think that, well, when you look at it from a distance, it doesn't actually look like it's that big. Oh, you look up and you go, okay, that's quite a big tower. But when you actually turn up, there's a bit of a cable cart that takes you up to the top. And then there's stairs and like a big flat sort of building area where they are conducting sword demonstrations.
Very historical.
Yeah, it's like a historical
display
sort of place. And there's beautiful restaurants everywhere. Again, another convenience store where you can buy ice cream, all your little snacks for the day. So that was really cool.
They had all little markets there as well. Like there was ladies there crocheting things and had them on display for sale. There was lots of those cute key rings everywhere. It was Seoul Tower. So they
had all the love locks as well.
Oh, the love locks. Yeah, of course.
You have to lock up your love there.
Lock your love, locks of love. No, that was really cool. But Seoul Tower, you can really see it from a lot of places in Seoul City, and you just see this massive pointy tower everywhere. So to go up the top, it was amazing to get that 360-degree view of Seoul City.
Yeah, it was crazy to see. Literally 360 degrees, but just how many buildings that they have.
All the apartments, everything.
Everything. It's just so packed. And then when you find out the population, it's actually not that much.
What's the population?
I think it was about 8 million. And I was like,
Is that right?
when you look around, there's
I think it's more than that.
everywhere. And I was impressed to look around and just see it all. And yeah, their structures and everything, all their buildings look amazing. And it's quite a picturesque city when you look at it. So yeah,
It's a city
I
of
enjoyed that.
contrast. You know, you've got big buildings, but then you've got beautiful gardens. It's cool.
Yeah.
But I when you went to the DMZ, I went shopping, and my best shopping recommendations would be to go to the underground shopping centres. I mean, there's lots of, like, there's the Lottie shopping centres, there's the Hyundai Mall and everything like that. They look really fun, but they're also very high-end and very expensive. And, like, that's cool to see and everything, but sometimes you just want to buy stuff. So the underground shopping centres were really cool. They were all connected to, like, the subway stations. So you kind of exit the subway and then you keep going down the stairs, and then there's all these shops everywhere, like really good shops, all the kind of stuff that you want to find. Apparently, Gangnam, I mean, I went to the shopping centre under Gangnam train station, but apparently the bus station also has a really good shopping centre. Unfortunately, I didn't make it there. But that would be my tip, is find the underground shopping centres and things like that.
Yeah, plenty of underground.
Even like Hongdae Station had shops in it that was great.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a great bakery there.
Actually, I was just about to say that the bakeries are great, because you just, when you need a snack in the afternoon, you come past, and the smell that comes from the
So
bakery.
nice.
I don't know what it is, but I always find a nice bakery when I'm overseas. And those muffins or those cupcakes that we had, they were so good. Yeah, there's plenty to do in Seoul. I'll have to touch on as well, we went on this really cool sky bridge. So it's actually on the DMZ tour. It's not too far from the DMZ, but you go on this really nice walk. You have to walk up a bit of a mountain, so bring your walking shoes that day, because you do plenty of walking. And there's this really nice bridge walk that you can do just over. It looks over.
Is it like a swing bridge?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a sway bridge, and it looks over the mountains. But it's a beautiful lookout, and it's just so refreshing to get up there, feel that beautiful cold wind coming through you, and it's just an awesome lookout. People take photos, and it just looks really cool. And you're not actually that far from, so it's actually incredible when you do that tour, and where you actually land in Seoul at the airport, you're only flying about 12 kilometers away from where North Korea are. So the airspace for North Korea is 12 k's away. It's really, really close, and it actually is quite eerie and freaky, but it's an insane experience. So it's the same with the bridge. You can hear all the background noise sort of just from really high up, and you can look out to the mountains and the view that you get there.
What's
and
the background
all
noise?
the snow. Oh, like you can just hear the speakers still from
from the demilitarized
from the
zone.
DMZ zone. You can hear so the South Koreans have these massive speakers set up, and they're aimed at North Korea, basically to let them know that we want, to let them know human rights information, and they actually send Bible verses over, and they've had a lot of people escape because of it. A lot of people have tried to get into South Korea. So that's kind of cool, but it apparently travels like kilometers and kilometers sound. So we could still hear it, even though we were like 30 k's away.
Oh, wow.
So I thought that was really cool. So definitely throw the Sway Bridge on your bucket list for South Korea. Awesome, awesome fun.
Now, I think we can both agree that the best meal that you will have in Korea is Korean barbecue.
Yeah, that was very good. Very
We
good.
stumbled upon a place, and
Which is what you do over there. You just sort of stumble.
it is hard. I think no matter where you are in the world, sometimes it's hard to find, you're starving and you want to find dinner. I feel like no matter where you are in the world, it can be hard.
You just want to find something nice.
You just want to find something nice, and anyway. But the Korean barbecue was lovely, and it was a really fun experience, because we had the guy who was basically part of our dinner, because he was there cooking with us the whole time. It was really fun and an interactive experience, so it's definitely a must do.
They put they have it's like a picture of big pizza oven with like hot coals in the actual table, and then he just basically cooks the meat over the top of you, and then he just dishes it out into your little bowl, and it's like this big, and he just gives you little pieces of meat the whole time, and
Yeah.
that was pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah.
That was really nice meat too. Korean barbecue, very
It was
nice.
really
The
nice.
spice over there too. I found their food nice and spicy.
Everything was so spicy.
That
Actually,
was
we
good.
ordered something one night, and the lady came back to us and said, "Are you sure you want to order this? This is
Yeah.
very spicy."
And I said, yes, let's get it.
But
Let's
it
get
was.
it.
It was so spicy.
It was, but it was nice. It was really
was
good
nice,
spice.
yeah.
I liked it.
very like warming. My other tip for food though is to have like a big breakfast in the morning. I'm not a big breakfast eater, but when I'm traveling, I find that having like 2 eggs in the morning, like having something that really lines your stomach, really helps you throughout the day because it means you don't get hungry throughout the day and then you have to stop and find food because I sometimes I'm like, there's so much I want to do. I don't want to stop and get lunch. That takes a whole hour out of my adventuring for the day.
Yeah.
So big breakfast, I always think. But there was also lots of nice places for hot chocolate everywhere. They were big on hot chocolate in Korea.
Hot chocolate was big. And the only other thing I'd recommend as well is just layer up for the day. Just make sure you've got a backpack because during the day, the sun does come out. People might think that you can go to Korea and it could be overcast for weeks and weeks, but then you could go there and the sun could come out. So we happened to be there and the sun was out, but it was still freezing cold.
We had blue skies every day.
Yeah, but you still need to layer up because it was fresh.
Yeah.
It was
so
cold.
in terms of layers, I would wear like a base thermal layer. Then I would kind of have just another layer over that. Then I would wear a fleece. And then I would wear my big long puffer jacket as well. That was
That's
of
for a
what I
girl.
wore every day.
For a guy, probably take one of those layers off.
But you know what? Every guy in Korea was walking around with a puffer jacket. You were just the weird one who was just walking around in a t-shirt.
I don't really feel the cold. I'm lucky. I'm one of the lucky ones.
So Seoul is cold. Be aware.
Yeah, it was cold, but should we talk about the trains and how to book them as well? For moving into different parts
we're
of Korea.
kind of coming to the end. Well, before we move on to chapter 2 and the snow in Korea, I want to ask you, what is your top recommendation for Seoul?
Top recommendation, I really enjoyed the DMZ. That was great fun if you love a bit of history. So I loved that. And Seoul Tower. Seoul Tower was great because, again, more history. It's very relaxing. It's just a nice relaxing place.
We spent basically the whole day.
We spent a good portion there, and there's so much to see. So I would do those two things. Oh, and the Sway Bridge, that's also part of the DMZ tour. But they're my two hot topics or hot destinations because I really enjoyed it. And obviously, we've only touched the service in Korea, so
yeah, I would definitely go back because there's still so much that we didn't get the chance to because we only had 3 days. So they were 3 jam-packed days and nights, really. We were out, till it was dark every day. I would say mine would have to be the Disney princess experience. E.g., I mean, wearing the hanbok, it really felt like a magical experience. And I think if you're a girl who wants to have that Disney princess experience, then you should rent a hanbok and go to a palace in Seoul and you will have the most magical day and get the most wonderful photos out of it.
It was pretty cool to see it. It was
beautiful, really special, and I think Seoul would be a really great place to go to, especially on your way to somewhere because from Australia we travel a long way to get everywhere, and I think
it's a good stop-off destination.
I think it would be a really great place to spend a few days before you then went somewhere else. And I think there's always like a new cafe to try out in Korea or new shopping destinations, things like that. So I hope to go back.
Well, Korean Airlines has just received, I think, the best airline in the world.
They did. They won some award.
They got world number 1. So, and we did go with them. And
we did go Korean Air.
They are an amazing airline.
We went Korean Air from when we left. From Incheon, from Seoul to Sapporo in the north of Japan.
We'll touch on that a bit more later, but great airline. So if you are going to...
They were very lovely. I mean, going to Korea, we flew Jetstar on the way over from Sydney to Seoul.
Rubbish airline.
But the good thing about Jetstar is you get your Qantas points, I'll say that, but... To be fair, like you got 1 meal 2 hours into the flight, and I say meal, it was like, what'd you get? A sausage roll.
You got like a couple of snacks, so by the time you get there, you're starving.
And the staff weren't overly nice, I've got to say, which is disappointing, but you know what? We got there.
That's Jetstar. It's what you pay for.
Yeah, it is what you pay for.
You get what you pay for.
And that's okay. Still get the Qantas points.
And they still got us there, so I was pretty happy.
There, you know.
It's about a 10-hour flight, and it was comfortable. I was all right. We paid
we had extra leg room.
Yeah, we paid for that extra leg room, so
we were
could
on an
stand
exit
up,
row,
move around a bit. So that was okay. I was happy with that. And yeah, I mean, I thought the trip was pretty good going there. But again, if you need to add a stop-off destination for your Europe trip or whatever, I recommend, stopping off in Korea.
Make Seoul your next destination.
It's Seoul's got Seoul. It's a nice place.
Seoul's got Seoul.
So
this is we'll finish part 1 here of Seoul, and we're going to move on to chapter 2 of this podcast.
Yes.
And talk about our experience in Pyeongchang, which is like the ski fields of Korea.
The winter part.
So you can continue watching. We will be uploading part 1 separately and part 2 separately, but we'll also be uploading it as one episode as well. So stay tuned
for part 2.
Part 2. Welcome back to chapter 2. This is all about our skiing and snowboarding experience in Korea. So we went to the ski fields where the 2018 Winter Olympic Games were held, which was in Pyeongchang, and beautiful spot. Really amazing to see that in person. Always exciting to see an Olympic location.
Yeah.
But before we got there, we had some issues, didn't we?
Well, so being the first time that we've done this, it was a very unique experience, and it had its challenges. So for those of you, there is an international airport in Pyeongchang, and it's about, I think if you were to drive from Seoul to Pyeongchang, it's about 3.5 hours.
They said 4 hours.
Yeah. Something like that. Anyways, so there is an airport that you can fly there to, or you can get on the bullet train. And the bullet train, I don't know
if it's a bullet train. It's definitely a fast train.
It's
called the KTX train.
It worked really well. But again, being there and doing it for the first time, the experience was quite challenging.
So
you would think that when you turn up to a train station that you could just book tickets and get on. But we were there during, what was the time of year?
Okay. So the whole time we were traveling during Lunar New Year.
Lunar New Year.
And it was actually the day that it was the day we traveled from Pyeongchang back to Seoul to go to Japan, was officially like Lunar New Year.
And the crowds were just insane. There
was a lot of people around because people were on holidays and things like that. And this year they actually got like because of the way the calendar worked this year, they got I think they got like a full week of Lunar New Year, which is apparently unusual. So that was an added challenge because you can book tickets online for the KTX train, but it was a little bit difficult with translation and availability and things like that. Now, this is something that I would do in advance if I was going again. I would try actually booking it from home, knowing the dates you were going. But we ended up booking it the day before, and there was no availability. And we were looking to go from Seoul Station to Pyeongchang. Pyeongchang Station. And so we got in line, we found customer service, and we did. We booked tickets, we booked standing room only. And we're like, it doesn't matter as long as we get there. We were literally in the luggage area.
And we thought as well, because I looked it up.
You thought. I'm putting that on you.
I looked at the map of where our hotel was, where the ski resorts were, everything. And it said it was very close within the area of where like the hotel was, Pyeongchang, everything. So I assumed that we were going to go to Pyeongchang train station. Anyways, after you messaged the hotel and everything, they actually said we needed to get off a stop prior.
No, not even. No. It was a completely different train. We had booked the completely wrong train because I don't know why, but the train, we needed to go to Pyeongchang to go skiing, but Pyeongchang's just the region. But the actual station that we needed to go to was Jinbu, which meant you had to completely get a different train from a different platform.
But you can't blame that on me. That was...
Well, the website did say go to Jinbu, so I do put it on you a bit.
That wasn't...
Like, look, to be fair, you're good at booking things. You book really well with hotels and stuff, but sometimes your attention to detail isn't there.
No. So, okay.
It's okay.
It was lucky that I checked it.
I worked it out. I fixed it.
I worked it out when I checked it the night before. And I said, okay, I think we need to go to a different station. And then it was all good. Like we just literally.
No, okay. And you're like, oh, I think we just need to get off a stop earlier. Anyway, I said, I'll go check at information and go find out. Anyway, I go to information. If we had gotten that train that we'd booked the night before, we would not have ended up where we needed to go.
Well, we would have been 40 minutes away instead of 20.
Yeah, which would have been
It's
like,
not that big a deal. But
no, but it was. So then we had to then like change the bookings. And because, you know, even the day before booking was last minute tickets. So we were very lucky to get on the train.
it's not okay. This is again, things like this just happen to me when I'm overseas.
Just
and
happening. It's not a big deal.
I don't panic. I don't stress, and I just figure it out. It's not that big a deal. But yeah. Anyways.
We made it to Jinbu Station, which is also dubbed as Olympic Station.
Well, hang on. Before we get there, everyone needs to know that if you're going from Seoul on a bullet train to Pyeongchang, or if you're driving, whatever it is, you need to book tickets at least 2 or 3 days prior. So you get a seat. No, it's so you get a seat and you're not in the standing room. We were literally sitting on our luggage for about 2 hours. So just so it's more comfortable, make sure you book it a bit earlier, get a seat, get there, and it's all happy days.
Yeah, so that's why if you can book from home, I would. But otherwise, I would just if you know you're going to be traveling to a different region in Korea, go to Seoul Station or whatever where you're going to be getting that KTX train from, and book in advance.
Anyways, then we get there. And you get greeted with the mascots.
The Olympic mascots. From the Olympic Games.
And it was dark, but it was still pretty cool to see that.
And it was also snowing when we got off the train.
And it's the Olympic. It's actually the Olympic station. That's what it said out the front. And
I literally just said that.
There's something really cool about being in the like an Olympic
village
spot. Like it was really. I don't know. It was just something really cool because, I mean, obviously the 2018 games were there, but it was just something special. It was a really special part to be at, and I love that station.
It was really. I think we were really lucky to experience going to Pyeongchang and getting involved with the skiing there. So it was really cool. Yeah, seeing all that Olympic sort of memorabilia getting off the train. Again, because we got a later train that night because of the delays that we experienced, we missed the shuttle bus to our hotel. So we had to get a cab, which
was fine. It cost about $30. So
it was $30, but because we had a lot of luggage, we had to get 2 cabs.
Yeah, so which was it wasn't much.
So if you're just be aware if you're traveling in a group and you got luggage, be aware you're going to need to get more than 1 cab.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of large. They're tiny cars over there.
Yeah.
Tiny little Hyundais.
But that was all right. And then we got there.
So we were staying at the Ramada.
We checked into the Ramada Hotel.
Which is actually a dog hotel as well. There was the amount of little dogs we saw everywhere. It was so funny.
That was crazy, yeah.
It was very cute. Lots of those little small fluffy dogs just running around everywhere, just on the main.
Very stylish hotel though.
Yeah, it was good.
I loved it. It was just very grand, big spacious rooms again.
Massive rooms.
And what I loved, my favourite part about it was that you could, when you walked in, it was boiling. They'd left the heating on, but then to cool the room down, just open the balcony door, and you've got the best air conditioning system in the world. Nothing better than an Arctic wind blowing in off the balcony into your room, and that was the best.
Yeah, it was really magical. Cool though, being at a hotel in the snow, like a big grand hotel
in the middle of the snow.
That you kind of expect to see in the city, but in the middle of the snow. And then
again, the Olympians used this hotel.
They did, yeah. I think a lot of this infrastructure was built.
A lot of it was built, yeah.
So it's quite new.
A lot of it was built for the 2018 Olympics, and. But again, it was there was a snowboarding room. There's beautiful buffet in the morning that you can eat your breakfast.
Again,
big
breakfast,
snacks.
keep you going.
And then there's all restaurants and shops and everything sort of on ground level.
No, on the basement.
Yeah.
You got to go down. Yeah, I find in most Asian countries, you've either got to go upstairs or downstairs from Main Street to find food. So we had heaps of restaurant choices on basement 1 of the Ramada.
So that was pretty cool. So hotel, very happy with that. I thought that was one of the better hotels that we stayed in.
All the hotels we stayed in
really comfortable. and people were nice. The shuttles were really easy as
Yeah,
well.
so there was a shuttle
And
to
it was
get to
good.
the ski resort. So the
Yeah,
resort that we went skiing at for a few days was called the Mona Yongpyong,
yeah.
and that was about 15 minutes away from the Ramada. So you did have to get the shuttle bus in the morning. So that was complimentary from staying at the hotel, but you had to go at certain times of the day. So there was a shuttle at, I think it was 8:40 in the morning. Then there was one at 12 p.m. And then the one coming home in the afternoon was
5:58 or
five. It
something.
was something. It was very precise. And you know what? Everything in Korea was like clockwork. They weren't early. They weren't late. They were on time.
Yeah.
So you got that bus. If it was showing at 5:58, it was there at 5:58.
It was
Without.
very unusual. Like, that was weird times to be picked up. So
It was a long day of
it's a
skiing.
big day,
Massive day.
especially when it's freezing cold. I don't think I've ever skied in temperatures where you felt the cold that much. I mean, people say that our cold here in winter at like 8 degrees it goes through your bones, but I felt like in terms of ski temperatures, I know Canada can get to like -40, but over in Korea it felt cold. It was
Yeah,
just
checking the
really
weather
cold.
app, I think it was -8, but then it said
Mm.
with the wind, it said it felt like -16.
Yeah, and
So
then
that was
on the
cold.
blizzard day it was about -18, and that was freezing.
Yeah, we had a day. We'd actually finished all our skiing and everything, but we were just going to do an adventure day
Yeah,
kind of around the area. But we couldn't actually leave the hotel because it was so blizzarding.
yeah,
It was just absolutely
very
wild
dangerous
weather.
conditions.
It was amazing to watch though because you could just see the snow swirling around like a tornado and
Yeah,
everything. You managed to build a snowman, so
we did build a
I just
snowman,
watched and waved
and we
from
were out
the
there just
inside.
freezing our butts off, and it was cold, but it was an amazing experience to see the snow just absolutely smashing down and the wind coming through. So pretty cool to see. The transport wasn't easy that day either, so it was just a
No,
challenging day. But
yeah.
we'll talk about day one in Pyeongchang anyway. So we got the bus over there to the resort,
So the Mona Yongpyong.
and then as we normally have our own snowboards that we bring, down here at the snow
If we're going
in
to
Australia.
Perisher, we have our own
But because we were doing
snowboards.
so many different moving parts, we didn't bring the boards because it's just extra luggage. So, and I mean, we hired our gear for about, I think we hired it for about $20-$30 a day or
I
whatever
think
it was.
I think for snowboarding and lift tickets was 195
Dollars, yeah, roughly.
Australian dollars.
Yeah. So, not cheap, but not as
Oh,
expensive
well,
as what you have here.
yeah, I thought that was pretty good.
It was pretty competitive. So, but just as a bit of context of what you've actually got to do, I think this is a really important part to mention for anyone that does
This
go.
is tricky.
This is a real travel guide here. So when you're going to ski at the Yongpyong Pyeongchang Resort, you need to first turn up at the front and organise your lift tickets, and that's where you pay for your lift
Ski
pass.
gear and your lift pass.
And then you've got to walk up the hill to where the lifts are, to where your ski gear is, and then also collect your
your
lift
lift
pass.
tick, you actually
So
have to
you
get it
pay
printed.
you pay separately. Then you've got to get your lift ticket printed in a different location, and then you've got to go take that ticket into where you can get your ski gear from or your
But before
snowboard.
you get there,
So
I saw a line for getting your ski lift tickets, and I was
Yeah.
like, but then there was no line next to the machine where it
Yeah.
says get your ticket yourself, and I was like, well, let's just do that. We'll figure it out.
yeah,
Anyway, got my ticket printed off, no problem, like in 2 seconds. It was great. And I did, then you came and did yours, and that was good. And then we went to go get our ski gear, and we showed them our tickets, and then they said our tickets were the wrong tickets. So then we ended up having to get back in line again, that line we were trying to
Oh.
avoid that we thought we were so smart for skipping.
classic Koreans, but like inventing all the technology in the world and then not using it themselves. It's so weird. Like,
Look, do you know what? It was like the rules are the rules. Like they could see that we had bought the tickets, but they said we just need to see your piece of paper that you bought
Yeah.
your ticket, and there's like they could
everything's
see that.
paper. It's
Um,
man.
It was quite bizarre. So then we had to get back in line. Then we had to try explain to the staff what had happened. So then they had to reset our tickets,
Yeah.
and then they printed off our passes to go and get ski hire.
And mentioning while doing all this, like no one could really speak English at all. So It was
Yeah.
it was
And
challenging.
we didn't know any Korean, so
Yeah, and then from there, you have to go get your ski gear and show them all the gear, and they fit you for all the gear and everything, all the skis and the poles and the boards, everything.
yeah.
And then you tell the next bit because the next bit just angers me so
I
much.
cannot believe this. Like I've never heard of anything so bizarre. So it's all done. We've given them our confirmation piece of paper.
Yeah,
We're about to leave, and they
we've
said
paid for everything.
everything was paid for.
Everything's
Everything
been
was shown,
paid.
and they're like, "You can't leave." And
No.
we're like, "What do you mean? What are you talking about?" They said, "We need your credit card," and I said,
We need to hold a personal ID of some sort.
"Yeah," and I said, "I've already paid," and they said, "Yeah, we know. We have to do it as a security hold." They were like, "Leave your credit card."
Or leave your passport.
They're like, and then I said, "No, I can't leave you my credit card." Like, I had one travel card with me. I was like, "There's no way I was leaving like my physical credit card just on reception."
Just so people, all our viewers know, they weren't just asking for a photocopy of the
Of your
passport or anything.
license.
They literally needed to hold a physical ID card, passport, credit card, debit card, travel card, whatever it was, and keep it under a table
Yeah.
for the 3 days that we were skiing. It was that stupid.
But it was just bizarre. And they were like, "Oh, if you don't have a credit card, we can take your passport." And I was
I was like, oh yeah, right.
"You take my passport?
Yeah,
There is no
and then
way."
not be able to go anywhere else. So in the end,
In the end, I literally was like, here's a photo of my, my ID. Here's this. And they're like, "No, we can't do it."
we can't give you anything.
It was just bizarre. And anyway, for some reason, so I had 2 room keys with me for my room. And I thought, worst case scenario, I have to pay the $15 to replace the room key. And then I still had a room key to get into my hotel room at the Ramada. So they ended up accepting that.
They accepted a room key.
A room key with no personal information on it. All
Nothing.
it said was Ramada on it.
I think they were getting it. They were either,
No, but I actually asked to see the manager.
yeah.
I actually got. I
was
didn't.
crazy.
I wasn't rude. I wasn't angry. But I just said, there is no. I said I have just paid for all of this and was not given any warning about this. I said there is no way I'm giving you my credit card right now.
Too difficult. Well, we only had.
And then as soon as I said, could I speak to a manager? All of a sudden, my hotel card was okay. So my tip is, they're very compliant. They aren't going to budge you and let you in. They're not going to let you take the gear without getting that collateral. So my idea would be to take with you either an expired card of some kind or a gift voucher that you've been given, just as long as you have something that they can physically hold, but something that's not going to be detrimental if you somehow lost
I would
it.
recommend.
Look, I'll give context. I did get my room key back in the end, but
I would
there is a
recommend.
possibility that could have got lost.
I would recommend a like taking a debit card that's a cancelled card. That's what I would do because clearly
You need something
that's
that
what they
doesn't
want.
matter if you
or
lose.
even just a sheet of paper, like a printed version of your passport. Like that's not that
I
big a
know,
deal.
but I mean that's still like
But
your
like
ID.
when you think about how stupid it is, we literally gave them a room key to a random hotel that they probably have no idea about. It's like, what is the point of that? But they just needed to follow their procedure and do what they were told. This is how it works. But I have never experienced anywhere in the world where you've already paid for the gear.
You've already got the voucher.
You've done everything. All you need to do is collect the gear. And they said, no, we need to hold some kind of collateral for the gear. And we're not talking about like a board here that is top of the line. We got the bottom of the line boards everything.
They weren't great boards. They had no wax on them.
Look, they went well. They still went down the hill, but
No, like the ski. I still had I don't want to put a damper on our
No.
experience because we had a really good time and like the snowboarding was really good. The snow
but
was
the
really
viewers
good.
need to know what it's like.
The process. If someone had told me the process of hiring ski gear at the Pyeongchang Resort,
I would have got it elsewhere.
well, no, I just would have been so grateful for that information because
I would have gone elsewhere.
It was a process, or I
Oh.
would have pre-ordered online. Like I would have found somewhere. it was difficult. That was really
Yeah.
difficult, and I think it took you and I a while to get over it. Our first
It took
chairlift
about
for
an
that day.
it
We
took
were
about
like,
an hour.
I can't believe that was real. Did that actually just happen?
So we arrived at about 9 o'clock, and I think by 10 a.m. we were finally on our
No,
first
it was
chairlift.
later than that. It was about 10:30.
It just took way too long.
It took
but
a
then
really long time.
we were there at a busy time. I think
with it being Lunar New Year.
it was a busy
So there was
time.
a lot of families around going
Yeah.
skiing together and something like that. Because I did go on the double chairlift at the resort, and I jumped on with this guy, and he was telling me about why there were so many people around.
Yeah, and the weather was like for -8 conditions. That's quite comfortable and warm.
Yeah.
So that's probably why a lot of people were there. Because normally ski conditions, if you're getting a -12 day, that's like pretty
Yeah.
normal. So,
I would try and go no matter where you're skiing in the world. I'd always try go during the week. Because
Yeah.
weekends are always going to be busier because you're always going to get locals or people just having a weekend away going skiing. So we did have a weekday. I think we did a Sunday, Monday, and that the Monday
Yeah.
was definitely quieter, even though it was still in the Lunar New Year period.
Yeah. So that's sort of the travel tip there.
Yeah, that's a big one. Yeah.
For that one, that's a big one. So I
But
think
the guy on the
we should
chairlift
highlight
though.
that. But
Yeah, we should. But the guy that I was on the chairlift with, he also said that the Mona Yongpyong was definitely the best resort to choose.
yeah, so there's a couple of different resorts around
In the
South
area.
Korea in Pyeongchang. There's Phoenix Resort, which does look good on like,
Yeah, but
from
this
what I've
was from a
seen.
local's perspective, saying
Yeah.
he said
He said that Yongpyong was the
he
best.
said this one had the nicest like trail rides.
Yeah.
Like you would go through around the trees and things like that. Whereas he said other ones were just straight up and down. So
Yeah.
he said this was, if you're coming for a ski and snowboarding experience, the Mona Yongpyong was the
Yeah.
best one to go to.
So for those that don't know too much about skiing in Pyeongchang in Korea, the ski runs are very different and unique. So if you've come from Europe, you'll have massive, long, big runs, high mountains, high altitude, and potentially powder in different spots.
Yeah.
Japan, very powdery, very thick, and multiple mountains to ski from. Some very high, some medium, some low. In Korea, it's one, especially Yongpyong. It was one very high mountain where there was a gondola that could take you all the
that
way
was
to
really
the top.
nice.
Or there was some nice, easy green runs throughout the other sides of the mountain. But there's a few different trails that you can go down, but it's all quite... there's a lot of trees everywhere. You don't tend to go through too many trees. It's more just going down the big
The actual
runs.
trail itself.
And it's a very different experience, very unique, but the snow quality is fantastic. Very thick snow, very powdery, really easy to get down. Nice and long, smooth run. So
Felt like an adventure.
yeah, it was
every run.
really cool. And the backdrops were just amazing.
The scenery was really beautiful. Like being on the
Yeah.
chairlift, you were just in awe looking around at all the nature around you. It was so stunning.
And we were there on Australia Day.
We were, yeah.
And I don't know, it just...
I took a Snapchat actually and put it on Instagram as well. But it was like Australia Day, and there was these. It looked like Narnia, like there were the beautiful trees lining the ski slopes with snow on the edges of the leaves and
Yeah.
everything. It was really cool.
So, I mean...
But also, what
the
I liked
runs were
about the
great.
runs there is you couldn't get lost. Because,
No.
we didn't know what the Mona Yongpyong would look like. We didn't know the trails. But the way that they kind of direction them makes it really easy to get around. And you can't, basically,
They
can't
all
get
lead.
lost.
They all lead back to the center of the mountain, which I suppose most mountains do, but you can get lost easily sometimes. And I found that on that one particular mountain, if you went to the top of the gondola, you'd easily make your way back down. It was very easy to know where you were, and there was plenty of runs,
Yeah.
heaps of different lifts that you could go on, and it's probably one of the most underrated ski destinations that I've ever been on. And look, they had the Olympics there for a reason, because it was just the snow quality's great, the mountain's amazing. We did meet a Swiss snob who was like,
I was going to say, we met this really nice Swiss guy.
he was a Swiss, he was
He
a
was
nice
a snow
bloke.
snob, though.
He was a snow snob, and look, I liked him, but I went, mate, this is pretty good. I went, like, I've done Austria before, and that was amazing. Japan's amazing, but so is Korea. It's an amazing, different. I don't like people that just go, I'm from Switzerland and this is the best mountain in the world. It's like there's mountains everywhere in the world, and just because you're from there doesn't mean it's the best. There's a lot of really good resorts.
Yeah.
And I'm a snow snob as well, but I like to go to quality resorts with good snow and that are different. I like the doing different mountains.
Experiencing. Well, the thing is, you're not like we haven't just done the snowy mountains of Korea. You know, we got to do Seoul as well. That's what
Yeah.
makes it unique, is that you get to experience going to Korea and experiencing that and trying the food and everything like
Everything.
that. It's being open
The whole
to the
experience.
experience.
I loved it, and I just think it was one of the best skiing days I've ever done. And it's probably also one of the coldest we've done. I mean, skiing in -18, it's very cold.
And if the wind picks up, oh, you just feel like
It cuts you in half.
it does.
But
yeah.
I loved it. And I think
Do you know? Oh, sorry. I'm just thinking of something really random. Remember
Yeah.
the ice cream guy?
Oh, yeah.
That was the coolest. There
So
was
for lunch-
Turkish ice cream.
Yeah, for lunch every day, you went down like into the main area.
like the pub kind of area.
And it's 2 floors of just ski gear and then like food places.
Yeah.
And basically, to order your food, there's just like a big screen, and they call out your number, and off you go. You pick up your food, and there's also Turkish ice cream where there's like a magician.
There was a magician serving ice cream, and he was so good at serving it. And the way
So
it was like
funny.
reflexes, I'm going to just have to share it on our socials. But that was actually
funny.
such a. I sat there while you were getting your boots or something. I just sat watching this magician at the Turkish ice cream place probably for about half an hour, and it was so funny, so entertaining.
I loved it. I loved watching that.
Like
That was
it
good.
was that there was, in Korea, there's so many unique experiences, and it's all about those little moments that you look back on the trip and you go, that was really fun. Like when I, had a random chairlift chat with the Swiss guy, and then there was a chairlift chat with the other person that I just jumped on the double chairlift with. I think it's all about just every interaction is an opportunity.
Yeah, I
An
definitely.
opportunity to learn, an opportunity to have fun.
And just speak with different people. Like, even though there was not a lot of English over there, I thought it was a breath of fresh air going to a ski mountain where there was less Australians.
I know.
There was not. I probably met one Aussie family
We
that was
did.
from Adelaide,
Yeah.
and that in Korea, that was it the whole time. No, and this is what I mean by a very underrated place to go skiing. It's South Korea. It's so nice. I loved it. Well, my favourite part was, I think, doing that gondola run.
The gondola run was beautiful.
That was very nice and long, great powder, just amazing snow.
That was also my first time on a gondola.
Yeah.
That was my first time on a gondola snowboarding.
Oh,
So
it was just something special. Very, very nice. What was your favourite part?
my favorite part was, I'm just thinking of the magician. That was really funny. No, my favorite part was just being on top of the mountain and looking at all the beautiful scenery and just really soaking it in and being in the moment and just knowing how excited I was for this trip and how it had come to life.
It was cool. It was an amazing,
Very unique experience.
it was a very unique spot, and I don't think we skied enough in that. I think as a travel tip, you could probably allow yourself 4 to 5 days easily in Yongpyong, in Pyeongchang skiing and that
I think
resort.
I would like to explore the area a bit more because there is a few temples to go around
Yeah.
to. There's also
A
the
Narnia forest.
Narnia Forest. There's also the Winter Ice Festival on as well. So there's so much to do and so much to see. I think hiring a car would be an advantage in
Yeah.
the area because we were very restricted by the bus.
Yeah.
You had to go when the bus was coming, and it was a good service and everything, but it would be nice to be able to go
Leave
out
when
and
you
explore,
want,
leave when
yeah.
you want to go, because it was really long days and it was so
We weren't
cold.
there. We were only. It's because we shared it. We did half of the week in Seoul, another half in Pyeongchang, and it was a good experience. But yeah, I definitely would spend probably 5 days in Pyeongchang. You could easily do 5 days, and it would be enough time to see everything. And it's just probably not everything, but it's definitely, you need to allow for one bad weather day of just a blizzard.
Look,
'cause
I
it
think
gets so cold.
I think they do struggle with the weather there being pretty volatile.
It's just cold. Like, and that blizzard that came through, the lifts are shut. So imagine if we were there on that first day.
Yeah.
If the last day was our first day, we would have had to shuffle everything around because
Yeah.
you can't do it.
So the stars aligned for us. We were very lucky.
Yeah, very, very good opportunity to go there. So I'd 100% recommend Pyeongchang to go ski out in South Korea. Loved
And
it.
don't forget to book your tickets to Jinbu Station,
Yeah,
not
Jinbu.
Pyeongchang Station.
Well, it depends on where you're going and where you're staying. So
That's true.
keep that in mind. But yeah, so an amazing place, and I think that place, Pyeongchang Resort, was one of the best I've ever skied
Yeah,
at.
it was really cool.
Awesome.
I really loved it. The whole thing was really fun, really unique, very special.
Yeah, well, that wraps up our Pyeongchang and Korea part 1 and part 2. Hope you enjoyed that. We'll share some reels and some of the video experiences on our socials. So,
Yeah, make sure you're following us on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Instagram. Yeah, we'll be posting, like James said, lots of reels and photos of our experience that hopefully can align with this video. And we hope if you go there and experience any of this, that you share it with us. We'd love to see your experience.
And if you have any questions, if anyone is booking a trip to Korea, please message us. We'd be happy to share any more travel tips on a personal level and really guide you through the emotional wave it can be when you travel. So anyways, that wraps up our South Korea part, and we hope you can join us for part 2, which is in Japan.
Yeah, look forward to it.
See you on the next one.
Bye. Oh, I've been calling it the metro. They call it the subway.
Okay, whatever.
And I don't say whatever, because you kept asking people, do you know where the subway is? And you were looking for like the sandwich shop.
Oh, are we recording?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
Because like you're like, oh, I just want a subway, and people would hear you and point, and they would point to the train station.
Yeah,
sign.
I know that was kind of weird. I said, because obviously I was hungry, which is another thing that's hard to come by when you're overseas is food.
Yeah,
Like, it's food that you like. Then of course, I asked for like a subway, and they'd take me to the train station. I'm like, no, the wrong subway.
Yeah, because there's like information all over the city.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was quite